my understanding of our LMS system, like when I just came across it, I didn't even know, like when I went looking for all these online classroom solutions, I did not realize I was looking for an LMS system. You know, I just got, even prior to the whole COVID thing, I just got the idea that, hey, I wanted to kind of move my classroom to a more electronic-based environment because I had a lot of issues where kids were missing school for whatever reason. And, you know, content wasn't getting to them, work wasn't getting to them, assessment was not getting to them. So I went looking for these online classroom solutions. And only afterwards, you know, I'm over, well, that is, I mean, from my interpretation, I mean, I realized that, you know, those learning management systems, I mean, as an oversimplification for me, were those online classroom solutions.
Well, my introduction to the LMS would have been basically because of lack of resources. So at our school, we needed to run exams and there was limited paper, limited ink. So the idea was to bring everything online and try to model CXC system in terms of the online testing. So then we started to investigate with a couple LMS, and one of them kind of stuck out to us, which was Schoology. So we looked at a couple of schools in the area, and we realized that I think it was Marvelous So was utilizing the same thing. So we set up a meeting with them, and we went down and they showed us the entire system in terms of how to utilize Schoology for choice exams. So we used it for the end of term. We actually started our exams much earlier because we was testing with the Form 4s and the Form 5s. And we started running all our multiple choice exams on the Schoology platform. Basically, the learning curve from the teacher side of it, it tends to be a little bit steep. But once the teachers and them basically came on board in terms of setting up the exams, most of them remarked that why we didn't do this earlier. The actual examination, and I think with Schoology now, they have replaced the quiz module with something called the assessment module. And in terms of the comparison between Schoology and Google Classroom, I think it is one of the first platforms that actually utilize audio and video as a way of submitting an answer. So, you know, when you look at you talk about differentiated instruction, different ways in which students can deliver their answers. I think this is interesting. Good. Yeah, so what is a computer? A student can just click on record and actually record the answer and send it. So, you know, the formal way of typing an answer, or even multiple choice, it gives them a different way, a different perspective in terms of
that's actually quite interesting.
Really, an LMS, as we're looking at here, is a one-stop shop where you don't have to go all over the place to get your information, to interact with your students, to give them materials, to give them resources, to give them assessments, to mark the assessments, to keep track of their grades. Everything there in one spot. As most teachers are doing right now, they're using their WhatsApp, they're using their emails, and every time a parent or a student sends a request or a question to them, their WhatsApp getting full. They don't know who to respond to. If they respond to this parent, if they respond to that one, you know, they might send the wrong answer to the wrong student, thinking to send it to another one. The emails, you open the email, the inbox, and you have 300 unread messages waiting for you, right? And most of the time, 299 of that is the same question a student asking. You know, we get that. And LMS helps greatly with managing these things, where students could post under assignment, so miss, I didn't understand that piece, that question, part A, I had an issue with. Another child might say, okay, me too. And under all of that, you could comment, okay, well, this is what was meant, or this is look at this video, right? For whatever topic it is you're teaching. LMS is a great tool in having everything in one spot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All the resources, connectivity to students, parents or guardians, your assessments. And I really like most of the LMS that are available now have a way of keeping track of grades.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to do that separately. It's there, it's attached to each student, and we could work with that.
Like for example, with Schoology, basically once you set up the grading criteria or categories, that is put directly into a gradebook. And with the use of parental access codes, you could actually email that code to the parent, and they will be able to log in to that gradebook and see the progress of their child.
The child. Okay. Yeah. I didn't realize.
Yeah. It also has, I think,
Schoology offers that.
attendance. Well. Yeah.
You could add guardians to the Google Classroom, and they could log in and they would see their child's when they submitted. If they submitted late, what would the marks, what would the teachers' comments on the assessment, everything is there for the Google Classroom. So I don't know if if you want to give us a little rundown on Edmodo and what you like and don't like about it.
Yeah.
How hard it was to
learn. So like as you were saying, so like Neelasham, I think one thing that stood out there, I mean, your school came together with on that project and whatnot, right? This was me. I just went to my principal and my vice principal, and I told them, guys, I don't want to bring the staff on yet. I just wanted to try a pilot program by myself. And they said, sure, go ahead. And I told them I was just going to try to like create some online classes and whatnot for networking and corresponding with my students. I wish I probably knew about Schoology. The two major ones that the three major ones that when I was looking around online was Moodle, Google Classroom, and the one that I use now currently, which is Edmodo. And I think one thing that stood out for me with Edmodo, I like the bright colors and the simplicity of it. I was just thinking, it would have been like in terms of a learning curve for the kids, that would have been like a really low learning curve. And I guess I was kind of like, I didn't like the color tones of Google Classroom. I didn't feel like that was a bit like a stimulating enough environment for them. That was just my thing. But I mean, I like Edmodo for the fact that just like all the other LMS systems that you guys are using, it has ways to track the student grades. I love the fact that, they could, for each question, especially like for multiple choice, they could show you for each question how many got it correct, how many people didn't answer it, and how many people got it correct. So you can see like, okay, which question gave the entire class the most amount of trouble kind of thing. It gives ideas like that. So like recently when I was doing some work, my Form 1, I was able to pinpoint, okay, I realized this particular topic of the subtopic of the larger topic was giving trouble. So I was able to pinpoint that, and that's what I love about the Edmodo in terms of, learning. The one, I wouldn't say one, a couple drawbacks that I've seen with Edmodo. One of them in particular was the fact that I just didn't like the fact that for short answer, you have to manually answer that, yourself. I only recently learned that Google Classroom, you could put some answers in Google Classroom, and even for the short answers, they will actually correct it. In terms of assessment, just that part was a bit of a headache. But I mean, I didn't mind because sometimes, the kid might give an answer that you didn't really think about. So you could say, hey, all right, that's a way of thinking outside the box and probably give it a mark or not, and give a feedback comment on that question. The other thing that I did find was a bit of an issue with the Google Classroom, with Edmodo, was that like I tried to share work and resources with some of my teachers, and it was like to do that part was not easy at all.
With the Schoology, what we did, we created a department folder and then added all the members of that department to that folder. So once anything was copied into it, everybody would have access to it. And what we did in terms of the rollout of the exams is that the teachers and them had access to that shared folder, and we had a separate e-testing platform. So the students were given the e-testing course, which is basically the platform which they would have logged into to do their exams. So let's say, for example, the morning of the exam, the teacher would have copied the exam into the department folder. And at the time of the exam, we would simply move the exam from the department into the e-testing.
Yeah, whether it's materials you're posting up, announcements, or even assignments, you
Yeah.
schedule it to post at whatever time you wanted to post.
Before Edmodo never used to like do prior scheduling, but like they upgraded that and now they do. And yeah, that makes I think a whole lot easier for me.
Each classroom has its own Google Drive. You could have up to 20 teachers per classroom.
Okay.
And you have, well, if you have 250 members in your classroom. So if you have 20 teachers, you could have 230 students in your class. And anything you put in the drive, only the teachers could see it. The students will only be able to see it if you share it with them.
Yep.
Right? So that's a real nice feature that I like with Google Classroom, that each room has its own drive, its own online storage. So you don't have to worry about if another teacher would see it. If you want to team teach, you just add the other teacher as a teacher in the Google Classroom, and they would see everything you do it. They would be administrator to the classroom, and they're good. Anything they put, you see. Anything you put, they see.
Right.
And only if you want the students to see, then you share with students.
Okay.
I think like in terms of the choice of the LMS, it boils down to the cost and the amount of participants that you could actually manage on the platform.
Yes.
I know like with some of the LMS, it tends to have limited in terms of the amount of participants. But like with Schoology, we run 150 students comfortably on that platform for e-testing and no glitches or anything like that. So in terms of the the cost factor, that does tend to be, I know with G Suite, you may have to pay for that.
No, once they recognize you as a non-profit organization and that you are a real educational institute, you get it for free.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I get G Suite for price for free.
Oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
So like one thing, like I wasn't even sure. And one thing that prompted me to use Edmodo, because they had an Office 365 sign in, and I use my ministry assigned email address.
Yes.
Yeah, and I have full. Well, I mean, I don't know there was any features limited if I didn't have one, because I didn't try to use like another account to like test it out. But since I've been using my Office 365, I get access to, I have like 5 different classrooms, and each classroom has up to like 30 to 40 students on it, right? The only drawback, because I just Nilasha mentioned something there, and this one of the shortcomings I've noticed with Edmodo, it glitches a lot with respect to smart devices. Like if the kids are using a laptop, accessing Edmodo on their laptops and whatnot, a laptop or a desktop, it's fine. But I've seen in the past where kids will tell me that, hey, yes, sir, but we did they answer all the multiple choice question. And I will notice like in about a few of them, like, why did you leave out the last 5? And it's like, well, I didn't. Only to realize, the smart device probably glitched with that internet connection, and it didn't, so when they think they submitted, it submit just prior to that or whatever, and,
Yeah, no, the Google Classroom, any device, tablet, phone.
So I've noticed that.
It works fine.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's just because if it's the device or just the internet connection, like where the kids are around.
There's a glitch in Edmodo actually. A lot of my students who do it with other teachers.
Is it? Okay.
They say the same thing. The multiple choice, after they reach a certain quota, that's it. The teacher don't see it as answered.
Strange.
One of the biggest seller for Schoology is that it actually has an app. So the students download the app and they get all the notifications. They can actually do the exam through the app. Right? I don't think anything like Google Classroom or Edmodo might offer something like that.
Well, actually, no. There is an Edmodo app.
Okay.
There we go.
It's so good, but yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
But,
so there is
you run the exam.
And I could set the exam from this as well.
Okay.
So
at the student side, they will be able to do it from the app.
Yeah, the kids on the plenty of them this time just do the exam from the phone as well.
Okay.
Google Classroom has the app for the mobile devices as well. You don't have to use the browser.
Oh.
Yeah, it shows up.
Check out that one then.
Yeah. But with the Google Classroom though, it's so versatile that you pull it up anywhere. You could use the app, you could use the browser, everything's connected. Teachers see when you're there, when you're not, and you can track this. Because it's Google, it connects with every Google app out there. So all the Google Slides, the Google Doc. I know you were mentioning you didn't like the colors in Google.
Yeah.
But you could do so much with Google Slides in a Google Classroom.
Yeah.
Right? And it interacts with all these bit emojis and these avatar apps, even these third-party apps, these marketplace apps.
Mm-hmm.
Google integrates with so many different apps. They even have a little plugin for Socrative, for Kahoot, that integrates straight into the classroom.
I think there's a plugin for the Schoology also.
Yeah.
So you can move exams from one to the next.
Yeah, there's a lot of connectivity with the Google Classroom. Because I used to use Schoology initially before we went school-wide with online classes before COVID. And then when I was looking for a school solution, the Google was coming up better because there are some physics, bio, chem apps that Google have separately that you can integrate with your classroom.
Oh.
And virtual lab.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that.
The only thing like with the Google Classroom, I didn't like the idea that they had to build the exam in Google Form and then have it kind of linked into the quiz part of it. Like where Schoology, the assessment module kind of integrated within the the program itself.
That's one of the cons of that. Their question section only allows for one question. Like how Schoology would build an assessment and you can add multiple questions. Yeah, their question assessment part only allows for one question. Other than that, you use the Google Docs, the Google Forms, the Google Slides to create the assessments. You put your marks, what you want for your questions right there. Because everything is integrated in your Google Drive, as soon as you create one of those documents, it's automatically saved to the class Google Drive. You don't have to go and look straight and wonder where you save it. Even if you were halfway through and you forget to save it, Google automatically saves it there.
Yeah, and Modo does the same thing, automatically saves and whatnot. Thank God for that.
So sometimes I go back in Drive and I see so much untitled quizzes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working on that, right?
Like even with this assessment module within Schoology, they now integrate like calculators, on-screen calculators, protractors within the assessment part of it. So for example, like in maths, you can bring up an on-screen protractor and do your measurements. Like in terms of the again the maths exam, sometimes you want them to access the calculator, right? So these are some of the features you can actually switch on and switch off there. So students don't need to go and search for the calculator and the accessories. They can just pull it up right there within the exam.
Only one thing I didn't like with the Google Classroom though, and a lot of teachers sent in that for they to add it to their workings. With an assignment, you cannot turn it or you cannot turn off submissions. After the due date has passed, a student could still submit, but it will be marked as submitted late.
Well,
I know in Edmodo you can turn it off.
Well, right, because in Edmodo, that's one of the things I like about Edmodo. I have the choice.
Unless you delete the assignment.
I have the choice. I could leave it and I could leave it past the due date and let them submit and it'll mark students submitted late.
Yeah,
or I will just lock it and it does not, and it cannot do anything afterwards.
No,
it cannot access it or anything like that.
No. The Google Classroom doesn't allow you to lock it. It just leaves it there. You have to hide it for the student not to see it anymore to respond to it. But if they do after the due date, it comes in as student XYZ submitted late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can't turn it off. You can't lock it. So only if you remove it, then you can't submit it.
Schoology could actually I think the word is unpublish. So once you unpublish the exam or the assignment, it no longer is visible for the student.
Oh, no, but yeah, same thing. You hide it in Google so they can't see it. But we were looking for the feature like that Edmodo has. You stop it from accepting submissions, but the students could still see it. Because the student, you might want the student to look at an exam, like after due date, if you want to go through the exam with the students, let's say you want to have a synchronous class with Zoom or something. And you say, okay, well, pull up the assignment that was due 2 weeks ago, and let's go to the answers. In Google, they could do it because it's open, but if I hide it, they can't see it. But if I leave it there for them to see, they could still submit, but it will be submitted late.
Okay.
So that's an issue that a lot of users sent in, so hopefully Google will fix that soon. Because there have been a lot of changes since COVID start that users from around the globe has put in requests for certain changes, and we've seen it.
I mean, which one you all think, I mean, in terms of like locally here, right? Because I'm looking at some of these other options here to discuss. Which one do you all think are like the more popular ones? You think like Google Classroom is more popular than Edmodo or Schoology?
It's a tie for Edmodo and Google Classroom here in Trinidad.
Yeah, I think like the two most common ones that I would ever hear people mention is either Google Classroom or Edmodo right now that is being used.
Schoology is really good. I used to use that before. The reason I went with the Google Classroom for my school is that we got the G Suite free and we get our own domain. So you get to create your users in your domain and you get to create student users in your domain.
So, you know what?
It's totally secure. It's totally private. You know, you give your students okay, so I'm at Pres. So I have a pcctt.org email address. And I could give my students ABC at pcctt.org. And they sign into their class. When they sign into Google Classroom with that email, all their classes will show up. Everything. It's totally secure. It's not, you know, no third-party emails in there. No outsiders. Parents agree. We have all parental permission. So if you want to share videos with them and so forth, it's totally ours. It's not outsiders. But you can use the students can use outside emails to get in the classroom. But I like the suite version for the fact that you get to create your own users with their own emails. So you don't have to worry about, you know, a child signing rockenstar51 at gmail.com. Like, who is that?
Yeah.
You know, you start be wondering which one of that, you know. So you know who the students are because you assign it and they can't change their name. And you're not interrupting their with their personal emails. You know, this is school and this is for that.
Like in terms of the parental consent, there's a prescribed form or something that you'll complete, and then I heard
we created our own form just at registration so that they would agree.
That has to be uploaded to the G Suite?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Because when you add on the YouTube plugin and you add on all the other extensions and the app to work with your classroom, sometimes they take, you know, for advertising purposes, they take the email addresses and they want to send stuff. But since you're in the domain, they wouldn't get it. They wouldn't be able to send stuff. Stuff would stop at our domain. It wouldn't get to the email addresses for advertising. And then when you're starting at Form 1, you have children under 13, which is the usual limit for YouTube, not YouTube Kids. So, you know, if an email address is assigned to somebody and the child is under 13, they can't access YouTube. You know that, right? They could only access YouTube Kids.
Yeah, so that when they publishing the content, now they have that.
If a teacher wants to share something and the child is under 13, they can't see it if that is the age associated with the email address. But with the suite, you can get around all those things.
Wow.